Good morning. This is the information session for Tsunami Volleyball for the 2021-2022 season. This particular information session is for our north and south locations, and I appreciate you tuning in here. I'm going to be answering all the questions that I know you're going to have, but there are certainly more questions that I'm not going to answer. At the end of the video, there'll be a phone number and some email addresses, and so if you have specific questions, you can reach out to us with additional questions. At Tsunami, we have 4 locations. We have one in Tsunami Rome. We have a location in the Warner Robins Macon area called Tsunami Central Georgia. And then this video is about our Tsunami North location, which is in Brookhaven in the Atlanta area. And then our Tsunami South location, which is in Forest Park in the Atlanta area. The first thing we want to discuss is age definitions, and these are set by USA Volleyball, so you'll have to know this information, and every year, unfortunately, we get a family or two that just kind of misses this. So the better you can do at this, you will definitely save us some heartache in the future. So you play the age that you are, or your daughter will play the age that she is on July 1st of next year. So my daughter is 13, she's turning 14. She will play 14 and under on July 1st. I mean, she will be 14 and under on July 1st, so she will play 14s. So there are a couple of exceptions to that. There are some, whatever age group, 14-year-olds who are up in age. And so to play 14s, they would play with a different group of athletes than they would be with their graduating class. If they want to play with a graduating class, that is totally fine, but they do have the option of playing down based on a July birth date, because school is a September birth date. There are some of those July, August athletes that kind of fit in the middle there. There are a couple of exceptions to this. An 18-year-old in her junior year of high school can play 17s twice, and then only play 18s her senior year. That's done for recruiting, but there is a waiver that has to be signed, so we would have to know that going in. And then... yeah, I think that's it. So people ask the question all the time, can my daughter play up an age group? Yes, absolutely, your daughter can play up an age group, but I will tell you that there are just a few athletes that are capable of doing that. We're not going to move them up just for the sake of moving them up, but if they are able to move up an age group and still be a major contributor to the older age group team, we're happy to have them move up. But typically, they're going to get all the competition they want at their own age group. So at Tsunami, we have 3 different types of teams. We have our elite teams, which are national level teams. Those, as you can read on here, those are the guys that are typically in the top 5% of teams in the country. We play at a super high level, and we travel a good bit to get to compete against some of the best teams in the country. Our elite teams those are your gym rats. Those are the kids who can't get enough of it. After practice, they want to stick around and play. They're wanting to hit the weight room to get better, to be able to play. They're playing sand and they're playing grass during the summer so that they get the opportunity to play more during the winter. So these are our elite teams are that level of athlete. They do travel a little bit more. They travel a little bit further, and most of these guys are going to compete in a minimum of 2, if not 3 national qualifiers or 4 or 5 national level events during the season. Our premier teams are what most other clubs consider their top teams. Our premier teams are regional teams. They're going to play Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina. Occasionally they'll go to Florida, but typically everything is drivable within a very reasonable amount of time. These guys practice twice a week. Our elite teams practice 3 times a week. These guys practice twice a week. They're going to play a great tournament schedule. The older teams can participate in our recruiting information and all that kind of stuff. So our elite teams are our national level teams. Our premier teams are our regional level teams. And then we have what are called our select teams. And our select teams play a local schedule. And this is part of our academy training program. They're not, if you're looking for the club experience, this isn't it. It's not bad, but this is our premier and elite teams spend a good bit of time working on team concepts and team training and that sort of stuff. Our select teams are part of our training program, and so this is kind of like their reward for spending the time in the gym training. They get to play in 1 tournament a month. And these guys will start a little bit later because our academy runs year-round, so the teams will actually be selected a good bit later. This is our tryout schedule for our north and south locations. You can see the dates and times by division, so make sure that you show up to the correct one if you are playing Elite 12s, it's 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 9th. So just make sure that you get the right window in here, and understand that our elite tryouts are actually 2 days. Day one is very much so driven by personal skill sets, coaches entering balls, that type of thing. Day two is very much so competition based, where the athletes have the opportunity to show what they can do in competition. So on day one of elite tryouts, we will offer some spots. So it is super important that you are there on both days if you can be there. And if not, you absolutely need to communicate with us. But day one, we will definitely pick some spots. So if you're not there on day one, there is a chance that you will not make the team that you want. Our premier tryouts are 1 day. And so there is no day two return for those teams. The only thing that's wrong on this schedule is that the 15 to 18 premier tryouts for both locations will be changing just a little bit. And that will happen this week. So you'll need to check the website, tsunamivolleyball.com, look under tryout dates. And if you registered for tryouts, you will get an email from us that the premier dates have changed. So that there may be a little bit of an adjustment there, just because we have too many athletes who have registered already for those teams. So we need to be able to spread those tryouts out. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the registration is open on our website. Go to tsunamivolleyball.com, and I'm sorry, it's pretty lousy. It's my design, and I hate it, so I'll fix it one day. But if you go to tsunamivolleyball.com, up at the top it says tryouts. Click on that page, and then that first page is a whole bunch of information for all of our locations. On page, then at the bottom, it says begin the registration process here. It's a big box, about that big. Click on that box, and it'll take you to a page where it says North, South, Rome, or Central Georgia. Click on your location, and then that next page is where you would register for tryouts. We do ask that you go ahead and register for tryouts. It saves you a little bit of money, and make sure that you get a tryout t-shirt that we don't run out. And it also helps us staff in the event that we have a flooding of athletes at any one age group or location. So registration is open. For those of you who didn't read that last slide, our elite tryouts for 14 and under start this coming Saturday. So it's right around the corner on the 9th. So hope to see you guys there. Having done this for a bunch of years, these are some of our regular questions that we get asked. So I figure we'll just run through these and save you guys the hassle of having to send us an email or call us. So how do I know what level to try out Elite Premier or our Select program? You want to try out for the highest level that you would consider playing. So our Elite tryouts are first, then our Premier tryouts, and then our Select sign up goes after that. So if you don't make an Elite team, you will be invited back to the Premier tryouts. If you don't make a Premier team, you will be automatically given an opportunity to play in our Select program. It doesn't work in reverse of that. If you just show up to Premier, there is a less than 1% chance that I'm going to invite you to come play on an Elite team. So you gotta, if you would play on an Elite team, you want to play on an Elite team, you need to show up on an Elite team. Same thing for Premier. You need to do the Premier tryouts if that's all that you want to play. Will I need to register twice? No. If we invite you back, one registration for everything, you don't need to register twice. Do I need to attend both days of Elite tryouts? We talked about that earlier. Yes. Can I try out for multiple locations? We have a bunch of families who live in the Buckhead downtown area, and to go to our north location or go to our south location, there's not a huge difference in the commute. What we ask is that you pick the location that is your first preference and go there. If that doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, then speak to us and we will make adjustments from there as best we can. How do tryouts work, and when will I know which team I made? At 14 and under, we try diligently not to cut any athletes. So we will try our best to place everybody on a team, and we do our best to place everybody on a team that day before you leave tryouts. On day one, we will offer most of our one team and a big chunk of our second team at the elite level. And then on day two, we'll fill those out and add in any additional teams we can from there. So for most of you guys, you'll know on day one or day two. For Premier, all on day one, you'll know where you have a team or not. We're not sending you home and then having to bring you back and email and call and all that kind of stuff. You'll know right then, and you'll have the opportunity to talk as a family and decide if that's something you want to do, and go ahead and commit to us or tell us you're not interested in playing with us. How many athletes per team? 11. 11 is our magic number. We want enough so we can add a coach in to play 6-on-6 in practice, and then 11 is a great number in terms of substitutions for a match where we have gives us the best opportunity to compete. How many teams at each age group level? 14 and under. As I said, we try not to cut anybody. Our anticipation is that we'll have between 4 and 6 teams per age group. Obviously, 10s are a little less, 14s are a little more, so somewhere in through there. But we are committed to have at least 3 elite teams at each age group, 3 premier teams at each age group if we can make those, if we have the athletes come out. This next question is regarding travel, which we'll talk about in a second. Do the athletes stay together at tournaments? No. I know some clubs promote having 4 athletes in a room together, and I get it. I understand what their team building mindset is. However, as a father that travels with my daughter playing, I don't want to pay for my hotel room and then 25% of her hotel room when I'm going to stay somewhere. I just want to pay for one hotel room, and I like my kid and I want her to hang out with me, and this is a great bonding opportunity as far as I'm concerned. So we do not mandate that our athletes stay together. If one parent wants to get together and take 3 kids, that is great. You guys can do that all day long. Have no problem with that whatsoever. And we talked about this earlier. Can you play up in age group? Yes, as long as you can be a superstar up in age group, we're happy to have you play up in age group, or as long as that's your graduating class, or there's a really good reason for you to play up. I have no problem for you playing up. We just want to make sure that you're not doing it just for the ego boost, because quite frankly, there are only a small percentage of the athletes that realistically should be competing higher. So we want to make sure that we put you guys in the best place to be competitive and to have that superstar opportunity at your age group. This is one of the things that we do better than any other club in the Southern region. Quite frankly, we have an entire recruiting process that we have been using for years, and you'll see on the next couple of slides how it has worked and how it has worked very well. We, the beginning of the year, we bring all the athletes in. We explain to them what it is that we're doing, what our expectations are for them, what college coaches want to hear, what they want to see. We talk about their videos, how to make the videos, how to broadcast the videos, are there recruiting services they should be using, all those types of things. We discuss all of that stuff at the beginning of the year for our athletes. It's all free. It's included in what we are doing as a club. And then I'm going to scroll through some screens here about where our athletes have played. And so you guys can get the idea of what, of whether it's working or not. You got to figure that this was a COVID year. So that many athletes are still playing in college with a bunch of programs not competing and a bunch of seniors getting to play an additional COVID year. And so that's 2021 class. 2020 class, this was obviously the last quote-unquote normal year. You can see in here we've got Penn State, UCF, Furman, Troy. These are some great programs, great volleyball programs, and great volleyball heritage. We've got HBCUs. We've got Division I, Division II, Division III, all different levels, super intelligent schools. You can tell I didn't go to one. William & Mary is an amazing academic school. So there's a little bit of everything. We're just going to scroll through here. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, UNC. At one point last year, we had 5 kids that were competing on teams that were top 10 in the country. So between Baylor and UNC and Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Penn State, our kids are playing at absolute highest levels in every level, top to bottom. So here's 2017. So you guys can just kind of see what it is that we do our recruiting program. It works. Our athletes are going to play in college. And for the record, this is where our athletes are actually competing in college, not just where they're attending school. I know sometimes some of the clubs use creative wording, but these guys are all playing at the varsity level at all of these schools. All right, so this is what a lot of you guys have come for. So I'm going to give you, this is our snapshot. This is not everything that goes on with these programs, but you'll get to see the general idea of what's going on here. This is our north location slide. The next slide is our south locations. We'll transition over to it in just one second. But I'll teach you how to read this a little bit. At our north location, we will have a group of 10s. Now, when we talk elite and premier and select and that sort of stuff, it gets a little muddy at 12 and under, so don't get wrapped up on, are you on 11 elite or 11 premier? They're playing the same schedule. At 12 elite is the only one that actually will travel a little bit. All of our other 12 premier, 11 premier, 11 elite, 10s, whatever, will all stay. It's a local schedule. The only thing that we add is we would add Big South or regionals. But anyway, I'll explain all that in a second. So at 10s, it's $600. That $600 is everything that you will owe to Tsunami. That is uniform, that is coaching, that is gym time, that is tournament registration, USA Volleyball registration, AAU registration. That's everything. Our 10s at $600 will play a local schedule. They'll play 4 tournaments, and they will practice one time weekly on what should be Sunday afternoons for our North location. Our 11s, I believe we have on there 11s Premier and 11 Elite as far as a tryout time. If you want to play at a higher level, come to the 11 Elite. The 11 Elite team, even though it's going to play a local schedule, will probably play 1 or 2 bigger tournaments, including regionals. The 11 Premier team will play regionals, but then they'll probably play only one-day tournaments from there. So at 11s is $1,250, 2 practices a week, includes regionals. Then as you start to go up, 12 Premier is the same thing as 11s, a couple of little minor differences, but nothing major. And then you can read the rest of this slide as we go through here. You'll understand that 14 Elite has a national schedule. They're going to play 2 qualifiers plus these other tournaments. That's not all of their tournaments. There are additional tournaments. This is just kind of the snapshot of what it is that we're doing. At our South location, it's the same basic principle. The only thing that really changes at South is our 15, 16, 17 Elite teams are automatically going to go to nationals. And so we build it into the price. You see a big price jump between 14 Elite and 15 Elite because that's nationals are included. So whereas all of our teams, 14 and under, will end in April, we'll talk about that in a second. All of them end in April. Our 15 through 17s will continue through June and July at our South location, guaranteed. Now, at the end of the season, you will have the opportunity to extend your season. So the regionals is in April. Is in May. It's the 1st of May, end of April. Regionals is then. We have a group of athletes at North that always want to continue training. It's not built into your fees. It's not mandated, but we absolutely take 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8 teams to Orlando to compete in AAU Nationals in early July, late June. And we will do that again this year. That is not included in your tuition, but it is absolutely something that will be given to you as an option. At our South location, we'll do the exact same thing, 14 and under, and all of those teams typically go to nationals, plus or minus 1 athlete, and then all of our older kids and a lot of our premier kids will continue to train and go to nationals as well, and then all of our elite teams go to nationals. 18s are a little bit different at both locations. 18 North is a tournament team, meaning you will play a local schedule, practice twice, but you'll play the big tournaments, Big South, Regionals, Little Big South, whatever's in town that you guys can compete in, the higher level tournaments, you'll compete in those. But those are our athletes that we want to keep playing, we want to stay busy, we want to train for our senior year, perhaps, but we're not necessarily, or we still want to play. Some 17s will play because they want to train for their senior year, but not necessarily want to continue to play club. Those are typically not our athletes that want to go compete in college. They want to continue playing though, and we want to offer that to them. Our 18s at South are they're going to go the full gambit, 3 national qualifiers plus everything we can throw at them to get them the additional opportunities to be recruited. All right. Payment info, we make it pretty simple. Basically, it says option 1, option 2, option 3. There are really 2 options. So option 1 is paying full. Option 2 is a payment plan, basically. You make a deposit at the beginning, and the deposit varies depending on the level. But you can assume that it's probably 20%. So it varies at the level. And then for our premier teams, because they finish earlier, for sure, it's 3 to 4 month payment plan depending on how soon they finish. Our option 3 is our elite teams, which have the same deposit, plus because they continue longer, the payment plan is spread out a little bit longer. There are work and sponsorship opportunities available. You'll need to just reach out to us, and there are definitely ways to help pay for your tuition, your daughter's tuition, and your daughter can work off a bunch of that stuff. So there are definitely ways to help pay for your club volleyball. All right, I touched on this earlier about the rooms. I won't go over that again. But as far as booking hotels, what we will do if our club is going to Birmingham, we will contact the hotels there. We'll set up room blocks. You guys can call and put your credit card down and reserve a room. We do not care if you stay in the hotel that we block. But we want to provide that to you as an option. If you want to stay at the Ritz or the Motel 6, that's totally fine. We're going to get a good middle-of-the-road hotel at a good price and allow you guys to book those hotels. But it is not mandatory. The only thing that changes is there are some tournaments that are called State of Play. They are typically national qualifiers. and you're going to stay exactly where they tell you to stay, and you're going to pay how much they tell you to pay, because there's no way around it. We don't have any say so in it either. So anyway, we've got a whole travel department. You'll get emails about it if you join us and play for us this season. This is obviously a huge topic of conversation, and we're on the same boat as everybody else in the world, and that we think we know 50% of what it is they're supposed to know, and a whole bunch of it's still out there. When we first started this whole process, we built UVC light boxes, and we built farm implementation devices that could spray everything, and we did, those probably you could eat off the floor of any one of our gyms on any given day for the longest time. As new information has come out, we're not quite doing all that anymore, but we are maintaining social distancing within our practices as much as we can. It is not possible to do that entirely, but we definitely are keeping our kids apart. We're not having huddles. We're not sharing the water fountain, those types of things, places where we're breathing each other's air. Masks are not mandatory. They are encouraged. And we do have a large portion of our population that are still daily wearing masks. We are encouraging our coaches to wear masks when they are directing attention to athletes. Obviously, when we're spread off on the sidelines and a good bit away, we're not too concerned with it then. But so masks are encouraged, not mandated. We used to have a big commitment day where we celebrated all of our seniors. Unfortunately, with COVID, we're not going to try and get 1,200 people in the gym all at one time. So we'll do all of this type of stuff online. This is when you would pay your first payment, turn in your medical release form, do all that kind of stuff. We'll take care of all of that via electronically, and then at our first practices. So the other thing is, one of the absolute best things you can do for your daughter is get her in the gym. If you want to play at our location, get her in the gym with our coaches prior to tryouts. We do a great job evaluating athletes at tryouts, but quite frankly, some kids don't do well at tryouts. So if we've had them in the gym for a while, we know what they're capable of doing, it's a whole lot easier to overlook a bad tryout. Or it's in reverse that, it's also easy for us to recognize when a kid just had a great tryout and not put them in a position that's not in their best interest. That's part of our tryout process, is just making sure that we get similarly skilled athletes together. And then we grow from there. So if you can get in the gym, on our website, tsunamivolleyball.com, go to the training tab. It'll drop down, and there'll be a ton of options there. You can go to the clinic tab by location, and there you'll see that there are clinics being run every single week at each location. All right, I am through talking now. I know you guys are glad to hear me shut my mouth. This is the information that you will need. If you have any questions about our locations, the info@tsunamivolleyball.com goes to me. It also goes to Dunn, who is one of our directors and one of our coaching superstars. And it goes to Heather, who is the right-hand man who does everything. So one email to go to all of us, and we will answer 99% of your questions if we possibly can. Also, that phone number at the top goes to Heather, and that phone number at the bottom is my personal cell phone number. So if you have questions, you give me a call. I'm glad to answer them. That's part of what we're doing here. And I hope to see you guys in the gym soon. If you don't make it tryouts, stick around. We will start running clinics and all kinds of stuff after tryouts. We'd love to have your athlete in the gym. See you guys.